Much more than that. Hi, everyone. I'm Richard Leek, and from the Cumberland River to the Grand Ole Opry, famous Music Row on 16th Avenue, and even Opryland, it signifies Nashville as the home of country music. But this is also a city of the 90s, one of the fastest-growing business areas in America. Tonight, Nashville, Tennessee turns into Monster Madness, straight ahead on Powertrax.
Powertrax presents the most powerful sport on earth, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge.
Expressway-type speeds. But Army Armstrong may be a different story this year because the course is different.
Well, the TNT officials saw the same thing you did, that being speed, and they had to come up with some way to slow these trucks down. The way they're going to do it is they put a jump right in the middle of last year's runway. The speeds were around 70 miles an hour, but they had a 200-foot run to get that 70 mile an hour final jump. This year, located in the middle of that 200 feet, 6 cars they got to go over. So they're going over 3 jumps this year, not 2.
Now, let's talk about competition. One of the guys that was going 70 miles an hour last year, Rod Litzow, USA 1. He is on a hard charge right now. He's jumped 3 positions in the national point standings. He's in 3rd, but David Morris, the equalizer, is in 2nd. This is his hometown.
It's his hometown, and it's almost a Cinderella story because, Richard, this time last year, David Morris and his wife were spectators. They bought a ticket, were sitting in that grandstand right there, and he said, someday I'm going to drive a monster truck. It's someday. He's not only driving a monster truck, he's competing for the national championship. Everybody's chasing this Renegade money this year.
So the top stars are here. We also have some maybe upcoming stars.
We got a new mud racer that came over. He's going to be driving the Wild Hare. We'll be telling you more about him later. We've got a truck that came all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. It goes by the name of Tuff-E-Nuff. Yosemite Sam's here, so everybody's trying to get a hold of this championship, and nobody's going to let anybody have anything. You mentioned a minute ago about Litzow. You watch this kid. He's not going to let this boy from Tennessee have anything. Rod Litzow's going after the equalizer tonight in Nashville.
Now, you folks know Army is undefeated in his predictions. Let's hear it one more time.
I want to pick Litzow tonight.
He's going to go with Litzow, but then doesn't he always? We'll be back with first-round action in just a moment on ESPN.
Powertrax and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks.
In the Music City, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. We're at the Nashville Motor Raceway. That is Doug Spanier, the master of disaster. He is about to make his qualifying run, and qualifying has taken its toll on a couple of trucks. We'll get to that in just a moment. But here's the way they're going to match up in first-round competition. USA 1, Rod Litzow takes on John Breen, the Mad Dog. Then we'll have Gravedigger Dennis Anderson against the hometown guy, no problem. That'll be John Moore. Nightlife with Dave Weisseward takes on a fast-charging King Crunch and Scott Stevens. Yosemite Sam, a new kid on the block, taking on another hometown hero, David Morris and the equalizer. Pablo Cruz, in only his 6th race of the year, Tuff-E-Nuff, will face a new driver in Wild Hare. Barely Tame will take on Master of Disaster. That'll pit 2 Spaniards against each other. And Army, it ought to be a wild night of action. One truck not going to be in the races, though, is going to be the Barbarian of Jim Miller. He had trouble qualifying.
Well, what happened? He stepped up on his horsepower. The engine is making plenty of horsepower, will not idle down, and it's costing him in the form of transmissions. Right there, he shelled it right on the starting line. And the engine just, once he started it, he just couldn't shut it off. The truck just kept running, kept running, kept running. Had a little bit of a fire. The crew came over. The emergency shut-off was put into effect. But the Barbarian will not be here another time, another day for him, Richard.
And as they normally have here at the Nashville Motor Raceway, which is capacity crowds week in, week out for stock car racing. As a matter of fact, Army, they led the nation in attendance last year on a weekly racing program. We're going to see racing of a different kind tonight, but still a capacity crowd. The Chevrolets against each other.
Yeah, weekly in Nashville, I understand over 10,000 people show up to see a great circle track racing program.
And they're going to see a great race here to get it underway. Rod Litzow, defending Renegades national champion. He is going up against the veteran John Breen and the Mad Dog. Now the question being, is this going to be a power track or a driver's track?
Well, the first race is going to tell the story. The power side is going to be represented by USA 1. Comes out good. Now he's he's in trouble. The third jump is going to cost him, Richard. I think we got grounds for disqualification.
Rob Litzow, USA won with a big lead. Stop it right there, guys. There you see it. His front two tires. The rule says they both have to be up over the set of jump cars. That did not happen. Rob Litzow has been disqualified. Let's go trackside with Army.
Rob Litzow, you said you're going to try to go back. Disqualified first round. What's going through your mind?
Mad, really mad right now. You know, that's what the tracks, you know, we try to hook up on these tracks, but they're designing tracks that make the trucks, these fast trucks, get out of hand. And this is what we got to go through. There's been a lot of DQs. There's going to be a lot of DQs tonight. And I don't like it. A lot of drivers don't like it.
Dejected, disappointed driver Rob Litzow. There is the owner, Everett Jasmer, and he is in a heated discussion with the officials as they continue to review the videotape. Army is making his way over now to the owner of USA 1, Everett Jasmer, for his comment.
Everett, your feelings on the call?
I'm so angry I'm shaking right now. I've never seen a run like this. It's the third time in a month we've had bad calls made on us. We went over here a little while ago and reviewed the videotape. We proved on tape, on more than one tape, that we were right, and the line judge refused to change his call. So once again, we are made an example of, and I'm getting really tired of it, damn tired of it, and I want to go racing. I'm tired of this foolishness with these calls by people that can't see what they're calling. And I'm going to make sure that these rules get changed.
Well, that's Everett Jasmer. He is highly, visibly upset over the call. Army, I don't know. It's a close call. There you see it stopped.
Yeah, but Richard, in any kind of motorsport, you build a vehicle for the track, not the track to suit the vehicle. You got to keep that in mind.
So the winner's got to be John Breen, as he was walking off with the belt off of the Mad Dog truck. I guess he'll be okay to come back.
Look like a power steering wheel. Yeah, he's going to be back. Speaking of back, you talk about a rivalry that started about halfway through the year. No Problem has always said he can beat the Gravedigger. No Problems in front of his own hometown crowd. If he's going to do it, this would be the time to do it.
Dennis Anderson gets the lead at the start, but here comes John Moore.
What's Moore on the outside? Moore's trying to mount him on the other, and he does it, Richard, in his own hometown. Moore puts one of the big guns away.
That has got to be called a major upset, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, but John Moore's going to be grinning ear to ear after that one.
So big, bad John Moore before the hometown fans in Nashville gets an upset win over the Gravedigger. Back with more in a moment on Powertrax. Raceway in the city of music, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, first round action. This is Scott Stevens, King Crunch. He's out of Woodlands, Texas, going for his first win of 1989. Up against the nightlife of Dave Wysorick, Grand Island, Nebraska. Both of these trucks are Chevrolets, and Army, a controversial night thus far.
Well, it's controversial, but that's what makes for good racing on the TNT circuit. Going side by side, Nebraska front motor Chevrolet going against the Texas rear motor Chevrolet. Scott Stevens says he thinks he's got this track figured out. He's not hurt for horsepower at all, and he's making an awfully good run, Richard Leek.
He made what you might want to call a smooth as silk run with all that power. Scott Stevens, as you see Dave Wysorick just now cross the finish line, Scott Stevens had no problem at all with that track.
Scott, everybody's complaining about the track giving some real rough rides. You didn't seem to have that problem. What do you have that they don't have?
Well, it's just unbelievable. The Trailmaster suspension's working great. Last weekend, super rough track, qualified quickest, and I just messed up the semifinals. Tonight, I kind of took it easy qualifying. It's hard to tell your mind to go faster. The track's real rough, but you know, the faster you go, the smoother it is. The Trailmaster shocks and the long springs, they're working great this weekend.
Well, our next matchup, we get to see a guy for the first time this year on ESPN. It is Sam Chuck Four. He's out of Jonas Ridge, North Carolina, driving the Ford Yosemite Sam. And look who he's up against, a real story. Hometown hero, David Morris, the equalizer, currently leading the nation in the national point standings.
You know, you cannot rule out Yosemite Sam. I'll tell you why. This truck does not run the national circuit all the time, but when he does run, he runs hard, and the equalizer will not have an easy go of this. Like you said, the Chevrolet Ford battle at half track, it was close, and at the end, Chevrolet just pulls it out. And I mean, just pulls it out, Richard.
And he bounced hard at the end of the track. David Morris looked to be having just a little bit of engine problem on that equalizer Chevrolet. We'll find out from Army.
David Morris, you might as well say you're in your own backyard. You're going to the next round. What's it like out there?
Well, the track, the course is pretty rough, and go along with that, I got a little problem with my motor. I don't know if I got sucking air under the intake somewhere or what, but I like not got to the track a while ago.
Our next matchup has a first-time driver in his career. Kurt Fisher filling in for Bob Breen and Wild Air, the Chevrolet out of Barnett, Missouri. Kurt's a real story as he takes on another rookie driver, Pablo Cruz, in a Ford out of Phoenix, Arizona. This is only Pablo's 6th race of his career, but it's Kurt's first race.
Well, it's the first race in the monster truck, Richard. I've been around motorsports for quite a while. Kurt has won many national championships in mud bogging, but he stepped up into another sport right now. But the kid out of Phoenix, Arizona is handling him in a big way. Look at this. He may be only 6 runs on that truck, but he's got a half a dozen good ones.
And that is a good truck, a 1989 Ford out of Phoenix, Arizona. Pablo Cruz, Army, spent the afternoon with him.
Pablo explained to us exactly what was the process you had to go through in order to build this truck.
Well, I raced the mud bog circuit, and as I made my money from there, I invested it all into this truck and a lot of time and had hundreds of friends as help on it, and we just got it together. It took us about 1.5 years to build it. I wanted to come out with a fresh, brand new truck. I didn't want to come out with an old truck and then work on it. We wanted to be 100% from the start. So that's what we tried to do, and hopefully we've done it.
You went with the rear engine truck. Why?
My mud bogger was a rear engine, and it just really helped me in the mud to keep my front end up out of the mud and not dig in. We moved the engine to the back, and we left the whole firewall out and everything, so when I'm in the air, I can actually look down and see the car, so if I'm coming down wrong, I can straighten out before I ever hit the ground. And I don't know, that may help, it may not, but so far it's done really good.
Well, it's been real good. Pablo Cruz moving into the quarterfinals. Now it's brother against brother. Baby brother Randy Spanier drives Barely Tame. Big brother Doug Spanier goes up against him, and Master of Disaster, kind of unusual, it's a Ford and a Chevy against each other.
What I think is unusual here is you're going to see 2 different theories on it. Doug Spanier comes out with buku horsepower. Now, this Chevrolet, he's not hurting for horsepower at all. Will it help? Will it hurt? I don't know. Meanwhile, his brother Randy sits over there. Well, he's going to lead the line. He's just going to mash the motor on the Ford and see if it makes the horsepower work for him.
Even right now.
Yeah, see, side by side, and the Chevrolet's making a lot more horsepower, but the Ford goes to the next round.
And I might say rather easily the Ford does. As they came across that second set of junk cars, it was Randy Spanier, the baby brother, beats up the big brother, moves to the quarterfinals. And that's where we're going to move next as we return on Powertrax and ESPN. For the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, we're moving into the quarterfinal round of competition before a capacity crowd. That is 8-year-old Jill Moore, the daughter of John Moore, the driver right there of the No Problem Ford. He's kind of a hometown hero, taking on the mad dog of John Breen.
John Breen going against John Moore. Who's it going to win? Look at this Ford. He's really working the right lane to perfection. Hometown, could it be? Yes. John Moore is going to go to the next round, and his lovely daughter is going to be tickled to death. And Breen, I don't know what happened to him. Looks like he lost his steering or something.
Now, you might recall John Breen only came back because USA 1 was disqualified in the first round, but it doesn't matter, as there you see a happy John Moore is down ready to talk to Army.
Hold it up, Army.
John Moore, to put it frankly, Mad Dog kind of looked like a whipped pup out there on that run. You hammered him.
Yeah, I don't know where he went. I think the track is getting better. I really think it's getting better.
All you guys with a short wheelbase are going to say that. Everybody on the other side with the long wheelbase is crying the blues tonight, but you're moving right on along. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, I think it is. It looks long, but I think it's a real short course, and I think if we can keep it straight, we ought to be all right.
You know, I haven't seen John Moore that happy since his wife bought him a new pair of jams to wear back in the pits.
Yeah, we can tell you all kind of story about John Moore and his fashion statement, but he brought up an interesting point, being the fact he's running it as 2 short tracks, not 1 long track, Richard.
Well, let's see how these 2 guys run it. It is King Crunch Scott Stevens against Doug Spanier, Master of Disaster. Doug is coming back as one of the first round fast losers.
Interesting position here. Both trucks making a bunch of horsepower now. The one advantage Stevens has is he has a computer on the truck to tell him what to do, and the computer told him exactly what to do, and it works. He's going to that next round, Richard.
That computer can't tell him to drive a smooth race, and that is exactly what Scott Stevens is doing to continue to win tonight here in Nashville.
Scott Stevens out of Woodland, Texas, kind of going against the flow tonight. Everybody said it's a bad track. A big horsepower truck won't do it. I don't know any trucks out here that make more horsepower. You're just driving a real good race out there.
Yeah, Army, what we've been doing, all year long, we showed you the computer up in Richmond. Hey, I did a qualifying pass. I knew what we did to qualifying. We knew to step it up each pass. As long as the truck's got momentum, it goes straight. Looked at it then, I was a little off pace, probably a little slower than the pass before, but we step it up next pass and the truck goes, as long as I've got momentum, I can go straight. So hopefully tonight, we didn't qualify real good, and we're in the bad lane, so that's probably where we're going to get stuck all night. And the computers, we've got the truck shifting real quick now. That way, because you don't want no power, I don't think, on this track. I want it to get into high gear. That way when I give it the gas, it don't have no sudden power.
Well, Scott Stevens now in the semifinals. And look at this matchup, Army. The awesome gravedigger Dennis Anderson, 28 years of age, out of Chesapeake, Virginia, against the hometown hero, the 22-year-old rookie David Morris in the equalizer.
Well, just a minute ago, Scott Stevens said something about sudden horsepower. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you're going to see right now. Side by side, rocket shots. Keep an eye on the gravedigger. The final jump should be a rocket run for him. Sudden horsepower, there it is.
I see a red flag down on the track. That could mean problems. And it comes from Gravedigger's lane right there.
Yeah, second jump, he did not make contact. Both front tires must touch. They did not. He's out.
Dennis Anderson disqualified for much of the same reason Rod Litzel in USA 1 was disqualified. That is because the two front tires did not go over the junk cars. But it probably doesn't matter because at the end of the track, the Gravedigger, there you see the damage on it, looks like a drive shaft and a rear tire plant. So Dennis Anderson definitely out of the competition, and he is going to be very disappointed in the results here in Nashville, Tennessee. Army is making his way over to the loser and the gravedigger, Dennis Anderson.
Dennis Anderson, not a good night. What's on your mind right now?
Well, it's kind of a choppy course. We can't come off the line hard. It doesn't take a real powerful truck to win out here tonight. A powerful truck will break, and that's what I just done. I blew a front drive shaft out, and I blew a right rear tire also, but I think I got DQ'd in that run because I didn't hit that middle pile of cars true. I tried to come off a little bit harder than I had been, but still trying to be easy coming off the line, and it just didn't work for me.
Dennis didn't seem nearly to be as upset as I thought he might be, and now we're going to determine our final semifinalist. It's going to be either Pablo Cruz, there you see sitting there and Tuff-E-Nuff, or Randy Spanier and the Barely Tame. This is a couple of Fords against each other.
Randy Spanier's making a name for himself working out of the left lane, but Pablo Cruz comes from Arizona. Look at this. Sixth time he's ever been out. He keeps going. I'm impressed with this truck, but Spanier was right there with him.
Boy, he got him by the hair of a nose right there. It is Pablo Cruz and the Tuff-E-Nuff Ford moving on to the semifinals. As a matter of fact, that is where we are going to move when we return from commercial break. The semifinals and the finals straight ahead on Powertrax.
Powertrax and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and the monster truck racing.
Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. I'm Richard Leek along with Army Armstrong, and that is Allison Bly, a professional stunt woman that in a short while is going to, well, blow herself up. We'll tell you more about that in just a little while. But Army, right now we are ready for the semifinals, and they ought to be some dandy ones because we've got King Crunch and Scott Stevens taking on No Problem and John Moore. That is a Ford against a Chevy, a hometown boy against a Texas boy.
The Texan's going to be lining up in the right lane. John Moore with the Ford out of Tennessee has lane choice. He pushes Scott Stevenson into the right lane. Now, Scott's been running out of that lane all night long, and it's worked for him. Maybe a mistake by Moore. We've got to find out right now. They leave good side by side. Half-track Chevrolet starts to pull out. Now the Chevrolet's really flexing this muscle. Look at this. I don't know what that computer's telling him, Richard, but whatever it is, it's the gospel tonight in Nashville.
And I'm going to tell you something also. I have never seen a driver run a smoother course consistently as Scott Stevens has done tonight. So he's in the championship.
I think the computer's telling him to lock it in high gear quicker. We've got to keep an eye and see if any of these other fellas pick up on it.
Well, this ought to be a great race here. Another Ford against a Chevy. Tuff-E-Nuff, Pablo Cruz, only the 6th race event of his career, up against another hometown boy, dangerous David Morris, the equalizer out of Nashville.
Morris in the Chevrolet, closer to the camera, he'll go against the Arizona base Ford. The Ford's looking good, comes out now, he has a little problem. Morris trying to come back on him. Richard! I couldn't tell. I could not tell.
The videotape up here shows the equalizer. Guys, if we can get a close-up of it, you'll see exactly how close it is. Right, a little bit further, right there by the wheel. David Morrison, the equalizer, moves into the championship. He will take on King Crunch and Scott Stevens. And in a few minutes, we're going to see Allison Bly, the stunt lady, perform really an unbelievable stunt, Army.
Yeah, Richard, it's amazing watching her blow herself up. She is a professional stunt lady. She'll be coming right before the finale between King Crunch and the equalizer.
But right now, it is time to answer another one of our many questions of the week about these monsters.
And this question of the week comes from Tyler Johnson of Port Townsend, Washington. And Tyler wants to know about the transmissions in the monster trucks, standard versus automatic, and the advantages of them. Well, for that answer, we went to the driver of King Crunch, Scott Stevens.
We use a GM-style Turbo 400 automatic. And just the transition of power with the automatic is a lot smoother. You know, maybe the future is going to be slipper clutches like the drag racers, but right now it seems like all the competitive trucks are running the automatics. You know, the transmission shifting by themselves and downshifting by themselves, too, helps a lot.
And if you have a question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. And if we use one of your questions on a future ESPN broadcast, we'll send you free a TNT Motorsports hat.
Well, the explosions are about to begin in more ways than one. Coming up in a moment, it's the championship race between King Crunch and the equalizer. But first, an explosion from a lady. That is Allison Bly. She is a professional stunt lady out of Tampa, Florida. That is a styrofoam box that she is climbing into. Surrounding that styrofoam box are dynamite charges. Now, there's enough dynamite there, as a matter of fact, to blow open a steel safe or a small building or a 115-pound lady. And here's the countdown before the explosion. Unbelievable. Allison Bly, the dynamite charges exploding around her. Army, she appears to be okay. The only protection she has is that racing helmet, and it is coming off her head right now, and she has done it.
Oh, I can't believe this, Richard. The crowd loves it. Everybody loves the thrill show. This young lady puts on a class act.
So Allison Bly successfully completes her stunt, and we're ready for the championship now. It is Scott Stevens, King Crunch Chevrolet from Texas against David Morris, Equalizer Chevrolet from Nashville. Let's do it for the hometown folks.
Speaking of thrill show, this is what it's all about. Can the hometown boy put a win under his belt? 1 year ago tonight, he bought a ticket. Tonight, he's into the finals. Who's it going to be? Stevens nut cut him and he's black. Look at that Texas Chevrolet. He's going to take and win.
Scott Stevens, King Crunch, doing it the way he's done it all night long with a very smooth, consistent run. Gets his first race championship of the 1989 season.
Your first win of 1989. Congratulations.
Thank you, Army. Everybody worked so hard. The guys at home, you know, this truck took forever to get it off the ground, and it's working great. The transmission broke between the second and third of the cars. Didn't have much to go after that. I just was glad I had a good start on it. The truck's working great. Yeah, Army, a few years ago, I thought I was really, had a hold in the sport and kind of got way behind. And we just put all our efforts into racing this year with TNT and this one truck. And, we're going to be here. And at the end of the year, hopefully, we'll be in the points.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Army.
I guess we could sum up tonight's action with the phrase, the thrill of victory and the agony of disqualification. Gravedigger and USA 1 both disqualified early in the competition. The thrill of victory, got to go to Scott Stevens. King Crunch, he gets his first win of 1989. We're going to have to keep an eye on him as he's knocked off all the big boys tonight. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leek. We'll see you again on